Welcome to Dialogue This Week. In this corner, we invite guests from in and out of Korea to talk about a wide variety of issues ranging from culture and sports to the latest trends around the world. Now, though the COVID-19 pandemic stays with us even into the new year, it doesn't mean our favorite sports events will go away. In fact, there are many sporting events to look forward to in 2022 in what's being dubbed a year of mega sports events. Now, these includes the Beijing Winter Olympics, which is set to kick off next month, the 19th Asian Games in Hangzhou, scheduled for September, and, of course, the 2022 Qatar World Cup, which is in store for November. To get a glimpse into what we can expect at this year's Games and which athletes to keep a closer eye on, we are joined by sports commentator and actor Jaemin Park and Jargal Sukhbaatar, the competition department director of the Mongolian Football Federation, who's also a match commissioner at both FIFA and AFC, both joining us through Skype. Good morning to you both. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, too. Well,
It's sports year. Yes.
Sports year. Well, it seems like we have an exciting lineup for sports for this year, like we just said. So let's start right away. Jaemin, like I've mentioned, the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics is set to kick off on February 4th until the 20th, and it's just a little under a month away from us. So this is the first Winter Olympics and the second Olympics to be held amid the pandemic. Since you've had some experience as a sports commentator for snowboarding and basketball at the Pyeongchang and Tokyo Olympics, respectively, what significance does this event have in the sports world for both fans and athletes?
Well, as you mentioned, show must go on and sports must go on. So since the pandemic, numerous major sports events have been canceled or delayed. Not only athletes, but coaches lost their jobs or opportunities. A lot of my friends missing out the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games since it has been 1 year delayed. A lot of my friends who represented the Korean national team has had to retire, or even some men, athletes had to join the army. So show must go on, as I mentioned, and this is a really serious problem. Sports business is one of the key industries. It affects many other businesses like domino. So bringing back the sports events is not only a big news for the athletes, but also for the human society as a whole. And moreover, people can have an opportunity to get linked together once again. Since the pandemic, every people has been disconnected and locked up. So maybe bringing back the sports can gain some energy to beat this pandemic this year.
Yes, I bet. I assume, many of our viewers will be excited for the Games as much as I am. Now, let's bring Jargal into conversation. Jargal, how do you see things? You're a match commissioner for both FIFA and AFC, and leading up to the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar in November, which we will get to talk about later in our discussion. There are numerous Football Association League matches. How significant is it that football or soccer matches returned a step closer to normal this year?
Okay, thank you very much. As Jamie said, show must go on. And from the football perspective, FIFA and AFC are doing a very hard job, to bring all the football matters into the everyday's life. So 2 years ago, AFC and FIFA produced a very special and clear regulation on the COVID matter. To return to football or match operation across the goals during the COVID-19. So those regulations give us very clear instruction on how to organize the football mega events domestically and internationally. Obviously, we had very challenging times to organize the FIFA World Cup qualifiers and Asian Cup 2023 qualifiers for the last 2 years, and many matches were postponed and shifted. Like Group A matches in China supposed to be organized in China, but they had to be shifted to UAE. And our match Mongolia against Japan. This is a huge event. We're talking about the business side of the event. Japan coming to Mongolia is a huge thing. But because of the COVID and the pandemic issue, we had to switch the venue, and then we had to organize that match in Japan. So it affects actually everybody. And millions of people are involved in football or soccer events. So that means that we have to continue organizing those events, as you mentioned, in less than 11 years, 11 months, the FIFA World Cup final is approaching very fast. So we have to continue.
Yes, like you said, it's something that will bring back light into our lives, especially at this hard time. So now, let's turn to Jaemin again. So the last Winter Olympics were held in South Korea at the Pyeongchang County. And other than the omnipresent coronavirus, what is new for this year? Are there any new events that have been added to the program for the upcoming Beijing Olympics?
Oh, so many. So we have to open the box. It's going to be a whole package of new sports events. So the IOC's recent main slogan is gender equality. IOC tried to put many different events together which were gender divided before, such as ski jumping. So ski jumping was considered to be too dangerous, which doesn't make sense in 2022. So women's ski jump was added at 2014 Sochi Olympic Games for the first time in the Olympic history. And just like women's ski jump, we will be able to enjoy this year mixed snowboard cross, women's single bobsled, man and woman freestyle big air, mixed freestyle ski team aerial, short track mixed relay, and mixed ski jump events as well. And this will be the opportunity to extend the category of Winter Olympic Games, and it will be much more fun watching the mixed relay disciplines, as I mentioned, such as ski jumping or snowboard cross, or even short track skating. So if you're a big fan of sports, it's really fun to watch the differences between men and women. So it cannot be the same, but the fun is always the same. So if you're a big fan of Winter Sports Game, 2022 will be a huge leap.
Wow, I must look out for it. Well, and also, Jaemin, according to a Grace Note, the leader in entertainment metadata, South Korea can hope for 5 gold, 4 silver, and 2 bronze medals at this year's Olympics. What do you think about this? And can you also walk us through what events South Korea is strong in? Are there any specific performances we should look out for?
Well, that is very optimistic. Well, the Korea Sports and Olympic Committee had a media day last week, and they actually proposed that Korea national team is aiming 1 to 2 gold medals for this year's Olympic Games, which is the lowest goal in the past 30 years. So Korea is aiming the gold from, as we all can expect, short track, which was always the strongest game for the Korean national team. Min Jung-choi and Yoongi Kwak, the former Olympic gold medalist, will lead the team, and they're still strong. And I had the chance to meet them a few days ago at the training center, and they were pretty optimistic and they were pretty in good shape, especially the national team leader, Kwak, said that this will be his last Olympic Games for his career. So he was eager to burn everything down he got to gain his last gold medal. And also former silver medalist, Sang-ho Lee, from snowboard alpine discipline, is another dark horse aiming the gold medal for this year. And yeah, so he's ranked currently #1 in the world ranking list right now. So what I'm expecting this year, probably 3 gold medals.
Wow.
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully that happens.
Yes, let's hope for that. But I must also ask, what excites you the most about Winter Olympics? And do you have any rising star athletes from teams outside of Korea?
Well, it's really hard to predict a rising star, so I will go for the fun part to watch this year. So who will be the star this year? Well, personally, I'm looking after Esther Ledeska, the Czech Republic snowboard racer who won 2 gold medals from 2 different disciplines in ski. So she won 2 gold medals from alpine skiing and snowboard in 2018 Pyeongchang Olympic Games. And how hard this is almost impossible. So it's like winning 2 gold medals from basketball and volleyball. So you use the same ball, but it's totally different. So being on snow, alpine ski and alpine snowboarding is different, but she won 2 gold medals. So I'm looking forward, will she win 2 more gold medals this year. And also U.S. ski legend Mikaela Shiffrin, who won 2 different gold medals in the Olympic Games, and Shaun White, the snowboard legend, who won 3 gold medals. So they're competing this year as well. So I'm looking forward. Will they extend their gold medal list this year or not?
Well, I'm sure I'm going to not miss out those games. Now, let's turn to Jargal. Later this year in September, from the 10th to the 25th, the 19th Asian Games will be held in China again in the city of Hangzhou. I heard that the Asian Games were not supposed to overlap with the World Cup in 1 year, and what happened? And so from now on, are we expecting this overlap to continue every 4 years?
Okay, that's a good question. Usually, World Cup finals organized during the summertime until 2022, until the Qatar. All the FIFA finals used to be organized in the summertime in warm areas, but this year is very special. So, as you mentioned, the Asian Games as well organized usually in August and September, and this time I think those 2 big events are not kind of overlapping as well. There is some 2 months or 3 months time between those 2 events. And in Asian Games, usually teams are participating with the under 23 teams. So that means it's not kind of 2 exact teams are playing in the 2 competitions. Like FIFA World Cup finals, the A team is participating and under 23 teams are playing for the Asian Games most of the times. So it's okay. For the next FIFA World Cup, which are plan to be organized in the next 4 years, and Asian Games, to probably have to sit down again and see how the tournament of the 2 competitions will go up. If it's gonna be at the same time, probably it have to be postponed or moved earlier. And again, the hosting countries' weather issues are significant as well on that case.
So we'll still have to wait and see. Well, Jaemin, at the 2018 Asian Games held in Indonesia, esports were featured as a demonstration sport, meaning medals won in the sport were not officially counted. And now these esports are set to make an official debut at this year's Asian Games. So can you tell us, for our viewers, what exactly are esports?
Well, Mogyun, do you play games?
Not really.
Well, then you're not an esports person. So esports is a form of competition using video games. So if you want to form a competition, you need a rule, you need players, and you need an opponent. So now video game competitions, particularly between professional players individually or as teams, has a form of sports. So video games being a sports is now happening. And combining E, which stands for electronic, and sports together, a whole new new form of sports is gaining attention all around the world of sports. Well, Korea won 2 gold medals at 2018 Asian Games, and as we all know, young generation love playing video games. And this is now not just a game, but a culture. And it is considered to be one of the biggest sports industries in the world. So Faker, as you just saw on the video, he's known as the most expensive professional athlete in the world.
Wow.
Well, that's happening right now. So winning the gold medal will be one of the biggest news for the esports fans in Korea, not only in Korea, but all around the world. So everyone is actually focusing who's going to win the gold medal in 2022 Asian Games.
Right. Well, now let's also turn our discussion to the World Cup. The 2022 FIFA World Cup is being hosted by Qatar this year in November. And isn't the World Cup usually scheduled for the summertime? So what else is different about this year's World Cup? Jargal.
Okay, yes, sure. Obviously, Arab countries, especially Qatar, during the summertime, the temperature rises so high, over 30, 40 degrees. So from the match organization perspective, the Qatar World Cup will be very, very different from the previous finals. So it will be organized in November, December, winter period, and that's one of the big change of that. And another change is it will be the first ever World Cup final organized in Arab countries, and second in Asia after South Korea and Japan co-organized this event. And another big significant event is this will be the last World Cup final with the 32 teams. And from the next edition, which will be organized in Mexico, USA, and Canada, the participating number of the teams will be increased to 48 countries. So that means there are more teams and national teams unable to participate this prestigious event. And Qatar is preparing very well. Myself went to Qatar and visited some of the venues for that event. And they are preparing 8 venues for that event. And from the economic point of view, they are actually very good solution for that. As we all know, the World Cup in how to say, in Brazil and in South Africa, after the event, most of the stadiums are not used. We call it kind of white elephant issue. So Qatar FA and Qatar government decided that after the final, they will take down 4 of those venues, because those venues are not kind of standard established venues. They can be taken down very easily, you know. So from the economic and
All right. Yes, I think we're experiencing some technical difficulties. We apologize for that. But before we let you go, Jaemin, who or what nations are on your radar for World Cup performances?
Okay, I'm going to make this short. I'm not a football person. But still, the FIFA ranked #1 right now is Belgium. So I'm looking forward for Belgium because I love Belgium chocolate.
All right. Well,
And let's see what happens, because Belgium they were always a strong competitor, but as far as I know, for the recent World Cups, they didn't really win the championship at all. So maybe this year World Cup we will witness a new rising country, which will be Belgium. Looking forward, or it could be Korea, or it could be Brazil. But personally, I'm looking for Belgium.
and what about Jargal?
Let's
What are
go.
you looking for? Which
okay. As an Asian, I have to be on that side. So we usually support all the Asian countries, you know, like South Korea and Japan, and they are actually in good way to get the final. I was the match commissioner for the South Korea against Syria, which was organized last October in Ansan. So I had I've been several times as a match commissioner for the World Cup for the current matches. So I think I bring a lot to the team, because you know that match was very difficult match against Syria. They had to win. So I think the Song Hyun-min scored the last minute winner, and then from that moment, South Korea started winning and back to the track. So I think by March, when they play against Iran, after that we can say that South Korea will be 100% qualified for the final. So as I said, I will go forward to see all the Asian teams the success. And from my personal point of view, I usually support Italy.
All right, I will make sure to keep an eye on all of them as well. Thank you so much for your efforts, Jaemin and Jargal, for your discussions today. Hope to talk to you again soon. Have a great New Year.
Happy
Thank you for
2022.